it got started. That was actually before I came on board with the Founder Institute. A friend of mine working for the state government in California, and he is 3 years away from full retirement. He, like he will get pension for his retirement. And then, well, last year, a lot of people lost their jobs. I had some other friends who were talking about, with a transition and everything. And then one day he told me, I can't stand this anymore. I am going to leave for a temp job at Facebook for 1 year. And I was like, okay, you're a good friend of mine. We got to talk. He is a senior civil engineer at the state government of California. He is he gets good salaries, and he's very senior, and he's about to retire. And he said, I can't take this anymore. I am going to take a job, a 1 year job with no guarantee, and I'm going to leave my pension and retirement. And then I was like, okay, this is a little bit of a crisis going on here. Well, so we started talking, and then along the way, we, when I was talking with him, I tried to identify and helping him out with where he was going, what his life was like, and why he wasn't happy about it. And that's how it got started. My platform is a digital career coach to help people find jobs and to connect with people to not only have a career that they feel passionate about, but a career that they feel they could stay for a long time. And true story. So he later became my investor. So that's how it got started, So currently we are working on this fundamental idea that jobs, especially job search, is not just about the position titles or job functions, but about so much more about what your life is and your personalities are. And we are talking to, we're actually meeting the inventor of the behavioral interview, Tom Jenks, and he's going to help us out to have a matching algorithm that will help really not only have a job, but a job that you could find your calling for. And that is truly important for both sides, because we know how costly it is for people to switch jobs. 2 out of the 3 Americans constantly find jobs, and 2 out of the 3 Americans are not happy with their jobs. We're trying to solve this problem. So Chris really helped a lot. I started by identifying my friend's problem. I thought it was at first, maybe his communication skills. Chris, if you remember, it was, I started with something about language assessment, and then realized, okay, well, that wasn't the core of the problem, and it was something even more than that. And then we started talking about how work and your work life and other parts of your life really should be in alignment. And when they're not in line, well, you're not happy. So that's when Employable, the current form, evolved from solving a language problem, an interview problem, to a problem that is about the alignment between your workplace and yourself and others, and for your long-term, from a long-term perspective. So that's my company, Employable, is about.
Okay, thanks. Andrea, how about you? So I met Zaza in 2015 when I was at my previous employer, and we worked together on 4 or 5 different programs, and we worked really well together. So March of last year, height of the pandemic, everything's shutting down, businesses are trying to scramble and figure out, how do they stay open? How do they monitor their employees or customers? And she came to me with this idea of smartwatches that are capable of temperature taking and automating it into a platform that will regularly take temperatures throughout the day and take away that manual labor of somebody standing at a door holding a gun. Is it working? I mean, last night I went and got my nails done and they took my temperature and he's like, you're 93.1. I guess that's okay. It's like, is that an actual temperature that is okay? Technically I shouldn't be breathing right now. But it's just things like that, the inconsistencies that businesses are facing and the support that they're not receiving with technologies that can help them automate, and security, privacy are huge issues. You're coming to that door, they're taking your temperature. Are they going to turn you away? Is that going to cause some kind of upheaval in the community with, okay, well, what happened to them? I wonder if they're sick. Am I exposed? Do I have to go get tested? There's just a waterfall or tidal wave of issues that can arise with that. So when we're focusing on essential businesses that are high touch, customer facing, that already have something like that in place where their policy is to take temperatures when people arrive at work. And using our smartwatch, in addition to the software as a service that Zaza has developed, companies will have the option of monitoring subscriptions and future features, pulling reports when you have to apply for those PPP grant loans. You'll have some data to show. This is how long we've had this product in place. This is how long we've been tracking our employees. This is the rate of people coming to work sick or not knowing that they're sick, leaving from work, with a fever, and how they follow up. That's going to have to be on the business's end, how their procedures are. But we just wanted to come up with a solution that was better than a manual temperature taker at a door. And I know that other people have come up with kiosks, and there are, like casinos have the floor room cameras that are sensing temperatures. But again, that's, where's this data going? How are people storing it? Is there any policy in place? So my ultimate goal is to be one of those policymakers, coming to the table with this product, with this solution, with our databases, with the security, to put policies in place for businesses to streamline this and to keep data in one place. And of course, sharing it anonymously, keeping people's privacy because there is personal rights. So yeah, it's just, when I talk to people about this, the list goes on and on. It gets bigger and bigger, and we've really had to narrow our market, and that's been a struggle because some things are opening sooner than others. They're trying to get kids back into school. Do you have the teachers wear monitors? Do you have the students? And what's the comfort level of the parents? So just that as an example. But yeah,
that must be a huge challenge because you've got so many different constituencies that you've got to deal with, each with their own agenda.
Chris, I cannot even tell you. So I feel like I hit the ground running. I get this business plan in place and I write up the business plan or business model in place and write up a business plan, and then I have to start from scratch. It just gets to be so big. So I'm really narrowing it down to essential services like grocery stores, things like that. Instacart deliverers, DoorDash, Lyft. People are missing out on public transit. You know, it's just not, I don't know. I wouldn't feel safe getting on the public transit train here, but I wouldn't before this all happened. So, you know, so yeah, it's been really challenging. It's been a lot of fun. We're struggling with funding. You know, where do we start? How do we start? How do we meet investors? I mean, that was not my area of expertise. And, you know, I found as a women-owned, women-founded business, I'm an Indigenous woman, so Indigenous-owned business, you know, there's funding out there, but the hurdles that you have to jump over and the hoops you have to jump through are just astronomical. They do not make it easy. And then you hear the flip side, there aren't enough women entrepreneurs. It's like, well, make it a little bit easy, make the process a little easier. But
And you know what, Andrea? That's BS. There are plenty of women entrepreneurs out there. It's that we men have done a pretty good job of effing things up. And as a result, we are where we are. And this is one of my big passions, is to find ways to open up those channels so that women get more. Will we ever be on the same page? I don't know, but I certainly want to do my small part in moving, you know, women and Indigenous people and people of color closer to the mainstream. It's a challenge, but it's doable. And let me hold on a second. Somebody's okay. I'd like to have a conversation with you offline, because one of my areas of expertise is fundraising. So
fabulous.
I'd love to talk to you, figure out where you are, and find out what I might be able to do to help in some way. Okay?
I would really appreciate that so much.
Let me do this. Let me put, oh, by the way, everybody, over the course of the meeting, could you put your name, your company, and your contact information in the chat box so that we can stay in touch with one another offline. Okay? And I'm going to put mine in there now. So.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't mention my company name, did I?
No, you did.
So we rebranded, you know, even at the beginning when we were thinking about this product, we had a name, Pandemic Monitoring System, and that was just a little too alerting. And so we started looking up synonyms for monitoring, and Zaza found Wink, and how those coincide, I don't know, but we started with our initials, so Zaza and Andrea and Wink.
Okay.
ZAAWINK, and I'll put that in the chat as well.
Okay, super.
Thanks
Good morning,
so
Dimitri. Hello, Dimitri, are you there? Okay, well, hopefully he'll be joining us in a few minutes. Let me run through a couple of things real quickly so that you guys have a better understanding of what we're trying to do. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, can you guys see that? Can you see my screen? You guys?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Our goal with these founder forums, and I'm not going to read through all of them, but as I mentioned right up front, our primary purpose is to provide an unstructured, relaxed format where we entrepreneurs can come together, let our hair down, take a load off, open up, and connect with one another as a support mechanism as we struggle through this journey of entrepreneurship. We want to see about making new friendships, making new relationships, maybe out of it come new partnerships, collaborative efforts, etc. But the most important thing is to be a support structure for one another. There are going to be times when Maybe what we do, the most important thing that we do is to provide a friendly shoulder to cry and bitch and moan and complain on. Because I'll tell you, I don't know about you guys, it's very difficult to find that kind of a group or that kind of a situation where you can just let off a little steam to help you keep your sanity. Help us problem solve, each other problem solve, maybe strategize, brainstorm, etc. Be able to show off our products and services to one another, because who knows, Andrea, you may show your product and Laura may have a couple people that she might be able to introduce you to. And so that's one of the things. And then the other thing is, over the course of the program, is have an ability to do a pitch presentation in a relaxed forum where you can get some honest, open, no BS feedback from people that you can trust. So that's about the concept. Now, like I said, it's completely unstructured, so we can get into other stuff as the group wants to get into it. So then, the next thing is, if you like what we're doing, please come back, become a regular, and tell your fellow entrepreneurs about us. Again, we don't want to become too huge, and we'll set up other founder forums as we move forward to accommodate, and we'd love to have them participate. And as we go through these things, please, if you have thoughts, ideas, suggestions, criticisms of the program, things we can add, things we should subtract, I need to know about them, okay? Because this is all about serving you. This is not about serving Chris or Startup Grind. Okay, just so you guys know, Startup Grind is the largest global community of innovators, founders, and startups emerging in high growth companies. We've got about 3.5 million members worldwide, 650 channels or chapters, and 140 countries. Our mission is very simple. We're here to educate, inspire, and connect our communities with the resources that they need to grow successful businesses. We live by 3 very simple core values. We give first before we help ourselves. We give first, we don't take. We help others before we help ourselves, and we look for ways to make friendships, partnerships, and collaborate, and not just contacts and play zero-sum games. Just a real brief, coming up in the month of February, in my chapter, we've got 2 workshops on strategic and financial planning, using 2 new models that have been developed by an organization called Team Business. The other one is, we have another Founders Forum coming up in 3 weeks, and you can find more information about those 3 events on our chapter website, and I've listed the address there. We've got our big global conference coming up the 23rd through the 25th. Obviously, it's going to be virtual, but never before and this is the kind of thing, this is an event where you can attend with probably close to 10,000 people from around the world, and you can do it with your favorite drink, your favorite beverage, your cup of coffee, in your PJs, in your robe, from the comfort of your own home, and you'll get as close to a similar experience as if you were attending the global conference out in Redwood City. And so I highly, and it's the kind of thing where you don't have to pay, travel, you don't have to pay for lodging, et cetera, et cetera. And it's set up on a pay-as-you-can basis. So it's also very affordable. And then the final thing is, we do have a free startup membership program that you can find. I'm sorry, I forgot to do this. startupgrind.com/membership. And I put all of that information in the chat box. So I'll be happy to send out kind of a recap of the situation or of today. And then, okay, we already covered that. Then what I'd like to do is to give us a chance to, talk about how, and I know this is probably a common topic, but how has the pandemic impacted you, the company, those around you? How have you dealt with it? Look, we all know that we are entrepreneurs and we struggle with depression, anxiety, fear, lack of self-confidence, isolation, etc. And as I said, one of the things is helping us help each other get through some of these rough times. I know that for me, initially, it was not a huge transition for me. I have been doing most of my work virtually for years. So making that physical technical switch was seamless for me. We went from doing all in-person events to being all virtual in about 2 weeks. And with the global organization, we did that in the course of about 6 weeks, which, knowing how big we are, was a pretty significant achievement. And with that, I also will put in a plug that now more than ever, our Startup Grind global community is more interconnected than we've ever been. Okay, and if you're interested, you can go out from time to time on the Startup Grind global website, which is just www.startupgrind.com, and you can access literally every event that we are having around the world in the community. And 99% of them are free. But as Andrea, as you said, it's the challenges is managing the 15 or 16 or 17 different time zones. So I was so focused on doing everything that I could to help support our community. From basically the end of March through about July, when things really began to open up, I didn't realize how much pressure and stress and energy I had put into this. And so I hit the 1st of August and I hit a wall. I was tired, I'm not tired, I was exhausted. I was questioning myself. I was questioning, am I really providing value to the community, etc. And I struggled with that for 3 or 4 months, while still trying to keep the community together. And then I ran across a couple of health problems that further complicated the situation, which kept me on the sidelines for several weeks. And they were the kind of health problems that have caused me to re-examine my life and make some changes accordingly. And so that has been weighing on my mind. So, those are some of the things that I've been struggling with. And the things that I will share with you, the things that I have found that have worked well with me is whenever I get to where I'm feeling depressed or tired, fearful, anxious, etc., is I stop for about 5 minutes and I do a micro meditation where all I do is sit at my desk or stand up and focus on taking 10 to 15 very deep, long, slow breaths. Close my eyes, Whatever comes into my head, comes into my head. Whatever goes out, goes out. It doesn't matter because I'm not dwelling on it. I'm focused on my breathing. And invariably, I find over the course of about 10 minutes, I can really recenter myself and refocus myself just with that one little trick. The other thing that I do is I do a lot of journaling. And I generally do it early in the morning and later on in the evening, kind of, okay, what do I want to accomplish during the day? How am I feeling and what do I need to do to make that happen? And then I do kind of a daily review at the end of the day. How did it go? What did I accomplish? What didn't I accomplish? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I found that those couple of rather simple tools and techniques have helped me get through some of this pressure, stress, and anxiety better than I thought I was going to be able to. So that's a little bit about me. How about you guys? Open floor.
Yeah, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Laura.
I can't. That's like my day to day throughout the day, the waves of the anxiety, depression, and of course my daughter's unmuting and talking on her class. But I have my 16-year-old in school virtually. I have this one 9 years old in school virtually. My 22-year-old moved back home. He's working. I worry about him on a day-to-day basis. And trying to find a time where I can really focus for long stints of time just doesn't exist. And so I get off track really easily. I don't journal, but I do definitely look at my calendar, plan out my day, what I want to accomplish, and even tack on extra things. So yesterday I'm on several different committees, chairing committees, and that took most of my day. But it was a nice brain break from focusing on business plans and business models and funding and seeking out funding and hitting walls when you reach out to funders who have been recommended. You get bounce back emails or no emails at all. And I got an entire slide presentation done yesterday, 17 slides of going from my journey into tech. I'm speaking at the University of Wisconsin on the 11th for the International Women and Girls Day in STEM. But yeah, journaling, meditating, trying to take that time to really reset happens throughout the day for me. And I find that it still just builds and builds and builds. And, I try not to butt heads with my with my children while they're at school, but the frustration really peaked yesterday. So that's why I kind of took something that I like to do and got that done and took a day off of work.
Good.
Yeah, and that tends to help and make me refocus and re-strategize on what I can do. And luckily, I am so grateful that this meeting was this morning, because it's a great segue to reshift my focus and to get out there and meet new people and hear their struggles, hear their journeys, and commiserate. And it's hard being a founder. I took for granted. I was a teacher for 17 years. I got into tech because I didn't want to take statistics, even though I love math. So I don't know, head game that I played with myself, and got into computer science, which led me to AnitaB.org. And instead of being the woman technologist that they support, I was the one supporting women technologists. So I kind of fell out of the tech. And now I'm getting back into it. Zaza needs help with development. So I'm, crash course on all of these new technologies that I haven't learned about for the past 5 years. So, jumping in and trying to help out with the code and websites and apps and things like that has been fun. But, that's really her niche. And I'm the project manager. I have that organization and juggling 50 things at a time and still managing to get 99% of them done. You know, I always joke that my diagnosis of OCD and ADHD come in handy. They complement each other very well. So I'm very organized, but I can also multitask, even though that's been challenging with this situation. So yeah, I have my stack of journals on my shelf. I have a notebook that the last one I have sticky notes galore everywhere. I live by my sticky notes, and you know, I write everything down and I go through and see what I've accomplished, what I've done, check it off, and you know, it kind of says, you know, I have done things. I have accomplished a lot in almost a year. But it's still, I was laid off last April and was still able to get unemployment. And then I was let go in August. And I really struggled with, do I find a job or do I focus on this? Because I'm only bringing in a fraction of what I was as a salary. So my husband's really stepped it up. And, you know, he's been a huge supporter, and he's even going out and talking to people. He's the forward facing person. He can talk your ear off and sell you anything. And he's made connections with the local businesses who really want to know when we have a viable product, an MVP to give them and show them and demonstrate, and you know, they're interested. So he's gotten the sales portion, I think, kickstarted for us. The interest is there. So that's led me to, you know, what do people really want? What do employers want? Managers? What do the employees want? So I'm starting to draft surveys and put surveys out. But do I really want to spend that time with that? I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. I've never been a founder. I've never been an entrepreneur that's had to raise money and capital and do financial projections. You know, it's a very steep learning curve. So I'm glad we found you all.
Yeah, it is. It is a steep learning curve. You know, I love your idea of sticky notes, because, you know, as I've grown older and as I've learned more about entrepreneurship, I find that I do have OCD and ADHD, and that makes things challenging. But I'm also of the school where if I don't write it down the minute it comes into my mind, chances are I'm not going to remember it and it's going to be gone. So I walk around with a notebook. I don't walk around with sticky notes. But there you go, Laura.
I'm the same.
And the sticky notes are inside of my notebook.
And you know, here there may be an opportunity here for you and I to help one another. I don't know what it might look like, but that's why I would like to connect with you offline. You know, like I said, fundraising is hell. And that's one of the things that I've done most of my life. And I think I've found ways to make it at least tolerable and easier. I didn't say fun, but
no.
So you know, maybe there are some things that I can do to help you out. And you know, we go from there. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So Laura, how about you?
Well, I have to say maybe I'm just lucky. My current business has already been almost 100% online, so I didn't really have that. Just like you, Chris. So I didn't have that transition as bad as some other people in other industries would. But I did feel the pain of a lot of people letting go of their jobs. And there were so many of my friends experienced it. And that was not that made me feel like I wanted to do something to help. And then, you already heard the story. That's how Employable started. And I think that for me, the biggest challenge last year was exactly just that. And I think I was also very fortunate. I got a fellowship with the Founder Institute, and I was able to make it happen. And I think making it happen, making me feel like I'm doing something, and that makes me feel much better. So I think I just I was very, very shocked by some of the stories I heard. Like the people work for the company for 12 years and then was let go. She was very good. It was nothing to do with her. It was just the economy was bad. And and I'm an employer myself too. So, I understand most employers, I don't think they want to let the employees go, but when the pandemic happened, it was just bad on both ends. So yeah, but I think I was very, very fortunate that I was able to bring this idea to action, and we're just working very hard to make it happen. Just yesterday, actually, one of my friends said he's going to introduce me to University of Maryland Career Services office. So we're going to talk. So I'm very, very excited. But at the same time, I got to create the product, right? So my pressure right now is to have the MVP out as quickly as possible, because we have people there waiting already. So yeah, Chris, I would love to hear more about the fundraising part as well, because right now, I think a lot of it is about how to be fair to the investors, because I try to bootstrap this, right? But I know that given the initial positive response of many people, and I have other angel investors contacting me, and I think I want to do it right. And I think with that, definitely could use a lot of the guidance about how it all works. I want to make it work, and then with the speed, like I need help. I can use people's help, but in order to have people to come on board, funding is a crucial part of it. So I would love to learn more about fundraising from you as well.
And then maybe what the three of us can do is hop on a Zoom call, and that way we can interact and be efficient about our time and see if we can help one another. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll reach out to the two of you after the event, and let's see what we can set up. Okay. Okay. I don't want to butcher your name. Is it Paseth or Pasethi? Hello, welcome.
Hi, this is Parminder Sethi.
Okay. Well, it's a welcome. We're glad you're here. And hopefully you'll come back frequently.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Okay. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, those types of things.
Sure. I actually have been in healthcare IT for all my career. About 8 some years ago, I left a really nice job and did a startup. The idea of a startup was that we would do a startup of startups. And it was kind of unique and crazy at the time. And we were right here in Columbia and got into the Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship, and then started a company called Moksha Technologies. And basically, the idea was that we will always be a little factory floor that would not only provide strategic and other consulting services, plus provide resources as are needed by our clients, but at the same point in time, work on developing products and stuff, and then frame them in a certain posture, and then kind of create products and create startups out of that. And we're very proud to say that we have then actually just yesterday we graduated out of Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship. We've gotten our own office space in Columbia only on Gateway Drive. And so we now are spread into 5 different countries. We have offices, and we have at least 3 products that we are selling around the world. One of them is called Joget, which is in and of itself a very successful product with the sales of in about 150 countries and partners in over 40 countries. So the concept that we started, at least back in the day, what kind of drove me to this forum was we kind of bootstrapped everything. I kind of rated my retirement, and at the time, everybody around me, my wife and everybody, they were like, "You're crazy. You're leaving this." I was a chief operating officer of a large company. I was a CIO, all this stuff. And where it got to was that I got tired of these consulting companies charging arm and a leg, and you talk to IBM and it was millions of dollars. And I knew that there was a better way of providing technology and services to the industry, and very, 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 sincere about providing technology services, and was very sincere about open source and stuff like that. So, we are actually now, since we bootstrapped everything, we didn't really I didn't know how to tell the story. I was an executive, just did not know how to do business, I guess, did not know how to ask for money. We just knew how to raise our retirement fund. So we did that. And then, we were blessed, we were lucky, did, quite well. And with our product now, like I said, it's one of the several startups that have come out of Moksha, and Moksha is still always going to be a factory floor of sorts. Like I said, we have people in 5 different countries and offices. We still do enterprise digital transformation. We do enterprise risk assurance. We do, enterprise operational excellence and optimization. We provide government services. Our client the list now includes a small little dog rescue in Colorado to Department of Defense and Cisco and Aetna and you name it, and Kaiser and all that. So it was interesting trying to figure out, what also drove me, I think, Chris, I don't know who wrote the little blog for this meet, where they were talking about entrepreneurs' journey is really, really lonely and it's kind of depressive at times and anxiety ridden and all that. And I was like, well, there are some other people like me out there. So if I could jump in and help out, I would love to. And the beautiful thing is that we with our company, one of our companies, which is Joget, we are at a state where we are in the low code, no code realm, which is really, really hot right now. And we are every day getting calls from VCs and people who we have made contacts over the last several years. And we're just, we don't need their money at this point in time, which is a good thing. But we want to have smart money come in. We want to have money that takes us not only to the next level, but then since we have several other products that we are selling and building other startups out of this startup we had, we want to figure out what's the best way to engage with the money markets is, if you will. And as like I told you, we were lucky and blessed and all that. We are actually starting our own accelerator right here in Columbia as well. And we have some like-minded entrepreneurs who are partnering with us, and we are going to start that activity in the next 90 to 120 days. So I had dual agenda here, just to kind of learn from you all and have conversation around how to go about the right kind of money, and then also kind of share what we were doing. So how's that for about 5 minutes worth of rambling?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you nailed it on the head, and that is the journey in entrepreneurship can, excuse my French, can be a royal bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Lonely, frustrating, fearful, anxious. Um, you feel like you have no one to turn to because nobody's going to understand what you're going through.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I really wanted to focus on with these founder forums. Startup Grind, we are the largest global community of entrepreneurs. We've got 3.5 million members in 650 chapters in 140 countries around the world. But we're focused on our local chapters and what our local chapters need. And it just so happens that I'm the chapter director for the Columbia Mid-Maryland chapter of Startup Grind.
Oh, excellent.
So you and I need to get together on
Absolutely.
multiple levels, because I'd love to hear more about your thinking on your fundraising, meeting smart money, et cetera, et cetera. It just so happens that that's one of my areas of expertise.
Oh, excellent.
And I agree with you on the concept of smart money. But what I have learned over the years is that calling it smart versus dumb money is kind of a fallacy.
Mm.
It's money. Okay. It's there to do a specific job. And when this is for all three of you, and that is, we as entrepreneurs get wrapped up into a mindset that angel investors, venture capitalists are kind of, I won't call them gods, but they're one or two steps below God because they provide a truly valuable resource. But they're human beings just like we are. Okay. And what they're doing is selling money. And they're selling money in order to maximize their return. So if you stop and think about it for a second, they're humans, we're humans. They're business people, we're business people. I find far too many fellow entrepreneurs going in with that mindset. These guys are God, or close to being God. I need to look up to them. I need to bow down and kiss their ring, et cetera, et cetera. When we need to be thinking about it as if we are two equals walking in, us with an opportunity, them with a resource, and that we need to be doing as much due diligence on the investor as they're going to do on us. And that's where we get into the smart money versus the dumb money. It's during that due diligence process. That's where, if we're doing the process right, we're going to figure out who's going to be, it's not smart versus dumb, but who is going to be the best partner. Because let's face it, you go out and raise money, you basically are going to be in a marriage for 8 to 10 years. And so you better be able to live with yourselves. And that's where, by doing our due diligence and talking to other, people in which they've invested, we can then begin to level the playing field. And so I guess you could say, yes, it's stressful, it's uncertain, and raising money can be a royal pain in the butt on multiple levels. But one of the things that we can do to help ourselves is to reframe our point of reference and recognize that we're all human and we're all business people. And so let's treat each other on the same level and see if we can close a transaction. And I've found over the years, as I've gone out and raised money for mine and other ventures, that by doing that, you really impress the investor. Because what they see is the flip side of the God paradigm. Everybody's coming in, they're going to do everything they can to say all the right things to get the money. But they very rarely come in and treat the venture capitalist or the money man as an equal. And that's all that the money people want to have done. They want to be able to deal with people honestly, openly. They want to deal with people that have great integrity, do what they say they're going to do. And the more that we can demonstrate that up front, the further in that line we'll progress. Anyway, that's me rambling a little bit. Hopefully there's something in there that I've said that may help you guys, think through the paradigm. But you and I definitely, I'm out in Ellicott City.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah.
So, and as a matter of fact, we work out of the Maryland Innovation Center, Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's where we're located with Chuck and with Doug, and they were one of my founding partners. And so we have a great relationship together. So yes, we definitely need to get together, sit down, and let's figure out how I might be able to help you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we are literally 10 minutes walk from 2-second drive from that office now. Yeah, we'll love to. I'll take it offline with you, or if I can get your contact or whatever, I'll call you and then we'll set some up.
Okay, I put my I put my email address in the chat box, and if you would do the same thing, I would appreciate it. That way, I know that I can reach out and contact you as well.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sent mine out to.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess one final question I wanted to ask you guys is, we're going to be in this pandemic for a while. There's just no two ways about it, whether it's 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, who knows? Okay. What are you guys thinking about in terms of your planning over the next 6 to 9 months? And I say that from a business perspective, and I say that from a personal perspective, or ask that, what are some things that you're going to be doing that will help you continue to remain at least relatively sane over the next 6 to 9 months, but also to be able to move your business forward? So I throw it open for you guys.
Yeah, for me, I'm thinking of applying for Y Combinator or Techstars. So that will be my immediate next steps, and looking for other pitch competitions and funding opportunities. The one of the tech competition about the platform that they have the competition for founders. I'm thinking of, depending on the kind of the cloud platform that we're going to use, I might be able to participate in some of the tech competitions as well to get funding. So I think the Founder Institute in a way really helped me a lot in terms of how to have an idea and have a plan, and then now I just need to implement it. And the key will be the MVP, and then the continuous support from the community, which I think is truly important. Like you said, is something I want to focus on, and therefore I think that is why I'm looking for Techstars and YC, depending on where I can go, and then I will continue to be active with the Founder Institute as well to participate in the funding lab and continue to interact with mentors. So that's my next 6 months.
There a couple of thoughts on that. There's a third one that you might want to check out called 500 Startups. And in the business, they are generally known as the 3 900-pound gorillas. Okay. But they are also incredibly collective or competitive, and they're very, very selective. And this is not something that we're going to be able to do overnight, but there are a lot of good accelerators and incubators that are now in the market that are focused exclusively on with female founders, female companies, and those companies that are underserved, minorities, people of color, people who are immigrants, etc. And it takes a little more research to figure out which one's right. But I believe that they actually might represent a better way of getting what you need than going to a Y Combinator. I help one of our chapter members. He's been trying for 3 years to get into Y Combinator. And he's been turned down all 3 times. Well, okay, so what's that doing to him in terms of his business? And so I've hopefully helped to flip the conversation so that he's first focused on growing his business, like you, bootstrapping. Granted, you're not going to grow as fast as you might with capital, but to focus first on the business and then look at an incubator accelerator as an adjunct, as an additional set of resources. And there are lots of accelerators and incubators out there that I think would fit nicely. I caution you, I caution everybody not to think that there are far more options out there than you think there might be, and that Y Combinator, Techstars, and 500 startups, yes, they're the 900-pound gorillas, but they're also incredibly competitive, and they're very selective. And I think, let's see, the last statistics I saw is they select somewhere between 1.5% and 2% of the applicants that they get. And in a given year, they will get between 800 and 1,000 applications. So that kind of gives you a sense of the probability. How's that?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Come to think of it, what do you think of the Maryland? I think, Sethi, you were talking about the Maryland accelerator program that you just graduated from. Like I'm also looking for local programs.
Yeah. So first of all, I joined MCE, it was called back then. It was Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship.
Yep.
They have these, incubators. They are not an accelerator, first of all. It depends on what you're looking for. What I was talking about was we were starting an accelerator here with the place that we got. And I'll be happy to talk to you about that offline if you wanted to. You have my email, let's connect. I don't know where you are, but we can talk on the phone. I think and I agree with you, Chris, I think what was, how do I say this? I've never really asked for anything before. So the bootstrapping was not necessarily a strategy. That was the only thing I knew.
Yeah.
And then, I always put myself in somebody else's shoes and say, well, why is anybody going to give? First of all, what we were trying to do, create a startup of startups, was not something that I thought that anybody would be interested in that, most money people want return and all that. And my going in position was I have put all this money in my retirement fund and my partner, and we were betting on Wall Street with retirement. And I'm like, if I can't bet on myself, I can't bet on Wall Street.
Yep.
So rating the retirement fund was really just not a knock on Wall Street. It was really just, believing in yourself at the time. And I will tell you, like you said, Chris, you're so right. It does do something, the rejection or not being able to make a sale or your belief that you have, it really does something to your psyche. I think it starts to, I don't know, I say it evolves you as a human. Sometimes people devolve and sometimes you evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I believe your name is Laura. I think that depending on what you have, you may or may not need a accelerator. However, as an incubator, MIC it's now called, which is right here on Columbia Gateway Drive. I don't know how far you are, but it's really convenient, right off of 175 in Columbia, right here near Costco. I think you will benefit from a lot of different things that go on over there, and I think those guys, Doug and Chuck, are really helpful. The team over there is really helpful. There are people like us that have graduated or whatever this that stay connected. So you will find, well, pandemic has done its thing, but you will find a community of entrepreneurs and stuff that you will find a lot of resources, that could help you. Raising capital is a different ball game altogether. And then, there is TEDCO, there are grants available, there's funding, there's a lot of stuff. You just need to step out there.
Yeah. You raise an excellent point. I've always struggled big time with asking people for help, whatever that help may be, whether it's money, whether it's ideas, etc. I was brought up where I was taught to be completely self-sufficient, and that asking for help was a real sign of weakness. And of course, I wanted to be the big macho, self-sufficient kind of guy. And it stunned me on a number of levels for a number of years. And even to this day, I still struggle with asking people for help. But I finally got to the point where I realized I simply can't do it anymore. I need help, and this is where I need help. And I have found that whenever I reach out and ask for help, people are so generous with their time and talent and information that I'm slowly beginning to work through all of my fears. I would agree. I've struggled. I struggle with it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I just don't want to say I'm really lazy. I do ask for a lot of help. What I don't like doing is, that aside, asking somebody for funding or money was not something that I could ever do. I still can't do it. I think the thing that you said it very correctly, Chris, is that's a voice of wisdom there. I think you walk in, and when people see what you're doing, you're not asking for anything, you're making friends and stuff like that. I think people genuinely, regardless of what race, culture, background you come from, people get interested and they wanna participate and help. And I think it's not them, it's you who has to approach it a certain way. And I think you are dealing with so many different things as an entrepreneur, as a startup, that there is a lot of internalization of stuff that I think disables you from asking for right kind of help. Mm-hmm. And I think that in your case, Laura, I don't know what kind of, I'm sorry I was a little late, was not necessarily, there's another thing that I will tell you that we did when we started, and maybe it will help you think through. You have to take the leap of faith and jump. Like we say, who was that Spanish guy who burned all the ships when they came because they didn't want to go back, the Inquisition, right? This is the cliff I gotta jump off from. You're gonna jump from it, and the net's gonna have to appear somewhere. If you feel like you have another cozy sofa or a bed somewhere, you're not willing to jump, it's not gonna happen. So I think you gotta figure out. A lot of people break in first couple of years because it's just too hard to like draw a new line where so many other lines are drawn. So I think it says something about you rather than people out there who won't help you or whatever. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's really very, very helpful comment and feedback. Yeah, and thank you, Chris. I actually didn't know anything about 500 startup. I have to look into it.
Yeah. And following on with what your first name again?
My first name is Parminder.
Ferminder?
Parminder, yes.
Ferminder. Okay, thank you. I don't want to keep saying, hey, you.
That's okay. It'll make me feel like I'm at home.
Okay. But what Perminder is saying is spot on, and that is there are some incredible resources in, let's see, you're down in DC, right?
I'm in Tyson's Corner, Tyson's, Virginia. Yeah.
Okay, so you're down in Tyson's. I know that there are people from Nova or the Northern Virginia area that avail them, that have business locations in Maryland to avail themselves of Maryland resources. Okay, so that's one thing. The second is that I've been aligned with what used to be the Maryland Center for Entrepreneurship, now Maryland Innovation Center. I've been a member of that for 15 years. And the reason I have continued to be a member is because they're wonderful people. They truly are there to help, and they know how to get stuff done. And in a lot of incubators or accelerators, they talk a good game, but they don't always back it up with action. And that's what I look for. You know, if I'm helping somebody get into an incubator accelerator, it's okay, so they talk a good game, or are they just another place to rent a desk? And what truly are the resources that they bring to the table that will help move you forward? Okay. And I have found that the Maryland Innovation Center walks the walk and not just talk the talk. And, you know, as Perimeter said, you've got TEDCO, you've got the Maryland Department of Commerce here, you've got all kinds of grants and loan opportunities that you might be able to take advantage of. And I also know that Virginia has, I won't say they're similar programs, but they have programs that may have a similar purpose. Okay. And as he said, the only way that you're going to know is to get out there and ask. You know, it's, where can I go to find, this is what I think I need. Where can I go to find this resource? And you'll find people are going to open up to you like you've never been opened up to before. It's us getting over our fear of being human and trying to put on that tough face.
Well, that's a great segue, because I have a question that I haven't been able to ask anybody so far because
Sure.
it's not my realm of expertise. I've heard conflicting advice. Do we need an MVP to raise funds? Is it better to have an MVP? What are investors looking for? You know, can I just give them a pitch deck, my business plan, or do we actually need to have a working model of our products?
The answer to your question, let me answer it by this. And he's a gentleman I've met several times, and if I were to say he's somebody that I follow closely is kind of the understatement. His name is Guy Kawasaki. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's done several, he's been a guest at several global conferences of Startup Grind. He loves Startup Grind. And he did a presentation on exactly what you're asking. And he said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A static prototype is worth 1,000 pictures. A working prototype is worth 1,000 static prototypes. A product is worth 1,000 working prototypes, but the end result is sales beats everything. So given where you are, yes, it would be great to have to get as far as you can. And a working MVP would be wonderful. That gets you down the road. But don't let that be a stumbling block, okay? Because there are plenty of companies out there that have been funded, maybe not as much, okay, as say you have a working prototype, but as long as you know what you want to do and have thought through everything and can present that to an investor, the fact that you don't have a working prototype is less concerned, because what investors are doing is they're saying, I'm not investing. They could almost care less about what you do, okay? What kind of a product you have or what kind of a service you're trying to sell. They want their big, I'd say 70 to 80% of their decision is going to be based on, number one, you as the founder. Can they work with you? Do you have the attributes that they're looking for in a leader? And then the second big thing is, have you surrounded yourself with a team, a high-powered team that can execute? And that team could be employees, it could be, people who are fellow, say, co-founders. It could be your advisory board, okay? I'm working with a company out of Chicago right now where we're completely restructuring their advisory board, because for the last 3 years, they've asked people to be on the advisory board, but the advisors have never done anything. They've never stepped up to help the company. And so one of the things I'm helping them do is to figure out where they need the greatest advice and the greatest help, and then focus on getting advisors that can really help them in that area and become activist advisors, not passive advisors. I hope that helps.
I definitely
It
have
helps
a lot to learn about that. Yeah, because I think at Founder Institute we have they give you that template, they have the guidelines, but I think it's truly important to learn more about how an advisor is someone you want to work with. I have people coming to me and want to be on the advisory board. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. But I also know that it's my first experience of assembling an advisory board. So I'm just starting to learn all about it. Yeah, so I would definitely love to learn more about that as well.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll make it happen. Okay, well, guys, we're down to about 12:30. You guys have anything else you want to talk about?
So we have the meeting. It's like once a month. It's always on Fridays at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, right now we're scheduled once every 3 weeks. Okay. Now we've done 3 of these. So actually, we're just coming out of the ground with this as well. And there are days when we only have 1 person show up, and that's fine. There are days when we have 12 show up, and that's fine too. This is not about how many people are on the call. It's about what we can do to help one another. And for right now, we're kind of running an experiment to see how many people are going to show up on average, because we do want to limit each founders forum to no more than 15 people attending. Because if we go above 15 people, it then becomes more of a meeting as opposed to an intimate gathering. I want us to be like we're doing here. we've had plenty of time to interact with one another. You get more than 15 people and you barely get through the introductions before it's time to leave. And that's not what I want. That's not providing you guys with the resources that I think I can bring to the table. So that all being said, right now we're every 3 weeks, and the next several are up on our chapter website. Okay. Then as we get through, probably we're going to keep doing this every 3 weeks through the end of March or April. And then we're going to reevaluate. And are there enough people that are interested where we maybe go from once every 3 weeks to once every other week? I don't want to do them too frequently because people are going to get burned out on that. But by the same token, if there's a need there, I'm happy to help. So,
is there anything we can do to help you with the new initiatives that you're working on here?
well, the one thing that I would ask is, number one, that you all come back, that we become part of a team together. Okay. Number two is, if you feel there are other fellow entrepreneurs that may get a benefit out of being part of the group, invite them. We'd love to have them. So those are the two big things where I could use some help with right now.
So Chris, first of all, thank you. I think it's great. It's good to see the I guess senior entrepreneurs engaged with some of the newcomers and all that. What is it that, I guess startup grind is startup grind? What is it that you are trying to do out of your chapter here?
Our global mission is to educate, inspire, and connect our global community with the resources that they need to have the greatest shot at growing phenomenally successful businesses. We live by 3 very simple core values. We give first, we don't take. We help others before we help ourselves. And we look at ways to make friendships, partnerships, and collaborate with one another, and not just business card contacts and play zero-sum games. Because we believe that out of partnerships and collaboration can come pies that are far larger than anything that we could bake individually. So that's the global mission, and that's my mission. Okay, as a chapter director, is to serve as a conduit to bring Startup Grind's global resources to our region. 1. 2 is to provide another resource for we fellow entrepreneurs to get together, okay, to work with one another, etc. And 3, it's to help promote the state of Maryland and our region as a place that is really open, warm, and welcoming to entrepreneurs from around the country and around the world. And for me personally, I wake up every morning with one and only one mission, and that is, what can I do to make a positive difference in somebody else's life today? And if I'm able to lay my head on my pillow tonight and say, yep, I helped Laura, or I helped Andrea, or I helped, Brissette, or whatever it may look like, then I can go to sleep feeling like I've fulfilled my mission. And so that's my personal mission behind Startup Grind.
Okay, sounds really good. And I will just tell you that I can align with all of them. So that's great. That's very good to know. So thank you for that.
Well, you're more than welcome. I'm happy to share it.
And for the ladies, I have my email. I have been through the startup grind, so to say, of my own for last 8, 9 years. I've leveraged the resources that were available to me. I've been a resource to many. And, just like you, one of our goals was to, like I said, we are a startup of startups. So we have several activities going around the globe right now. And if I could be of a resource, just ask, who knows, I'll be able to.
That's one of the things that we're here for is to serve as resources for one another. Who knows how we may be able to help one another? The only thing we have to do is ask.
Yeah, and I was going to say I have a bunch of several successful entrepreneurs and techie startup types in Northern Virginia that are actually part of our accelerator as well. So Laura, I'll be happy to connect you with them as well. But yeah, welcome to Maryland.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Maryland before I moved to Virginia. Actually,
Okay.
I'm a University of Maryland alumni, and my master's degree is in technology entrepreneurship with the University of Maryland. So I lived in Maryland. Yeah.
I will just tell you that, I lived in New York for a long time. Then I moved here 20 some years ago, long time ago. But Maryland is awesome. So welcome.
And I'm joining you all from the San Francisco Bay Area. So other side of the country. But Zaza is located in Maryland, and it's a Maryland-based company. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we consider you a Marylander.
I will be out there soon enough, as soon as I'm vaccinated and able to travel. And yep, she's trying to get me out there. So, crunch time.
Well, I want you to make sure that I'm one of the first people that you call when you get to Maryland. Because
Absolutely.
I want to meet you in person. Okay.
Most definitely. This is what this is about, growing community. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
So what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to take the information that's in the chat. I'll turn around and shoot you guys an email, a connection email this afternoon, making sure we stay in connection. And then Laura and Andrea, you and I, or we need to find a time when we can get together and talk through, all things fundraising. And Pramod, you and I need to find a time when we can get together and, chew the fat, break some bread, drink some coffee, whatever it is we might want to do, and figure out how we can help one another.
Do you like Indian food?
I love it.
Do you know House of India here in Columbia on Snowden River Parkway?
I know it, but I've never been there.
So I own that too. So come on down. We'll feed you some nice food.
I'm going to book my flight right now.
Okay.
I know.
Come on over.
All right.
Oh, don't start talking about food, especially Indian food. Come on.
That's the key.
Oh my goodness.
The only thing, actually, I love international cuisine. And Indian food, if it's not my top, it's one of my top 3. So I'm all ears. I'm there.
All right. So it's very simple. Where to find me, House of India. There
All
you
right. Good
Thank
enough.
you guys.
All right,
Nice
guys. Thanks, everybody.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great meeting you. Take care.
See you again
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye.